I just say it.
Welcome to Danu on Fire, right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. We're checking out the very famous coffee stop today at Cinnamon Grand Colombo. After all, this is the place to come munch on something and also do a lot of people watching. Now, even my eyes are just going everywhere for that very simple reason. Today on the show, I have someone who has taken a ride to Cinnamon Grand. He took a pick-me because I have the man who founded Pick-me, one and only Zulfer. Hello.
Thank you, Danu. I've known you for a long time, and this is the first time you invited me for a program.
I have invited you many a times. Always just rolling around somewhere, never coming on the show. But anyway, good that you're here. Let's speak about this. There are some brands that, we have in media, they say don't mention brands and all. But there are some brands that you have to mention because it has become a part of. Like you can take any tuk, they'll say, pick-me ke aave. It may not have been a pick-me ride, but it has become so synonymous with this. How did you ever think this pick-me will make it this far?
I didn't. I actually didn't when we started this company. But it's become a verb, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
People, I see this, I hear this when I go outside, when I go shopping, use a pick-me, or badutika pick-me in dan, right? So it has become a verb, and
Correct.
I think it's very nice and satisfying to see that.
Yeah, and also I think it's the word itself, the fact that it's relatable and understandable by anyone from anywhere in Sri Lanka makes it so much more easier. You don't need to think too much about it. It's like okay, like everyone knows what okay is. Let's go back to the time when Pick-me started. It had like all apps, it had its journey, it had teething issues, it had, should we put this or put that? These issues were there, and finding the people who can, be with the brand and be ambassadors of it without knowing that they're actually embodying this brand. How was that, choosing of the drivers, picking their personalities? It's a process, right?
Yeah, it is a process. I think we did a lot of work training the drivers, right? I think obviously 10 years ago, smartphones weren't with everyone, and drivers didn't have access to it.
And so apps were just
not known as well, right? So we bought phones and handed over to our drivers at that time, right? And I think adoption was amazing. Immediately we saw pickup. We went from 100 rides to 1,000 within 2-3 weeks. So that's the journey, right? And it has been a great, an exciting roller coaster ride.
So the initial stages of Pick-me was so crucial. I think that's a success story that I should really be proud of. There's no point sitting in a room and saying this is how I want the ride done. It's better to just get into the car and drive the car. I ordered a Pick-me from a hotel with my sister to go back home, and I ordered a little nano. But constantly I got the call saying that no, your car is here, and I'm like, no, it's not there. And he's like, no, the car is, it's not there, because I was searching for a nano, and he was like, no, there's this very fancy ride that was parked, and he was the one who was driving it. And it was on a Friday night, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So do you still do that?
I still do that, yeah.
Oh
I still do that, yeah. So I think I just do these spontaneous trips just to understand what customers feel about the product. So yeah, I was very lucky to get you on board, and obviously got a lot of feedback. Yeah, so I keep doing that, and we encourage this within our company. Everyone is supposed to do it so that they understand what's happening on the ground.
Yeah,
Right?
and that's the most important thing.
Correct.
Pick Me, I think, became the saving point during our times of lockdown and COVID. I think we really understood the value of e-marketing because we were not somehow ready to, like, you know, shop for your rice online. Like, you were like, oh, we wanted like touch. Mostly everything we wanted to touch. So right now to just change that mindset to buying everything online became a necessity for us during the whole COVID time. And Pick Me really filled that void in terms of food. This whole Pick Me food, as much as the restaurants are there, it became a essential part of people's life for essentials every day.
Correct.
How did that transformation happen?
Yeah, so I think I mean that's been a, I mean yes, I mean we were able to serve our community, but I think that's a very dark side of our country as well, right? You know, we've had many ups and downs, you know, especially due to external shocks. You know, I remember, you know, we had floods in 2017, and then of course East attack, COVID, and then recession, like four major incidents taking place within years, right? So every time those things happen, we had a role to play for our country, right? You know, so in this case, during COVID, we were all locked in at our homes. We didn't know how to go and purchase our essentials, and you know, our folks in the company decided, hey, you know, let's turn this whole thing into a grocery business. You know, turn this into a grocery delivery business, right? And that's how the whole thing started. You know, we used our technology, repurposed them to be able to deliver the essential services. We partnered with, you know, like Satosa. We partnered with Litro, a lot of the, you know, big companies to
get
these
things to
out
their
there.
doorstep.
Correct.
Great. When you were growing up, like, tell me about your studies, where it happened, what inspired you to come back?
Yeah, so I've been a product of this country. Of course, I did go abroad. So I started in Gaul. My mom and dad were from the south. So started at Aloysius College, and then my dad, you know, had to take up a job overseas, and we all packed up and went to Africa. And then, you know, immediately after that, about 5-6 years living there, we came back again, and then, you know, I've lost my touch on Sinhala, so I had to join an international school at that time, joined Alethea, and then sort of went through that, you know, cycle of doing O-levels and A-levels. And then after my A-levels, you know, actually after my O-levels, you know, we have that 6 months gap. My dad bought me a computer at that time, and I knew, you know, a few tricks to do. And I ran like a email service company at that time, right? So providing emails and stuff like that.
Wow.
And I, you know, and that's really the journey, right? That's my entrepreneurship journey. And then immediately after that, after I did my A-levels, I didn't waste any time. I just went into business, running a company, doing many services, like, you know, obviously web development was very big, providing software, providing email servers to companies, you know. Email servers were very big at that time. We were making a lot of money. And that's really the journey. So this was in 1998, 1999. And then I also had a because I didn't, you know, I was trying to keep up with my education as well. I had this option of going to India to do a 6 months, it was an exchange program. And I mean, I didn't know what this university was, but you know, I went into IIT Bombay at that time.
Okay.
Now, IIT Bombay at that time was not well known, right? I mean, amongst my parents or even in Sri Lanka, not many
We
people
always
knew.
had this whole European take to studies.
Correct. American or European, everyone would go to Australia, UK, or I think mostly UK at that time. And you know, I took up this option and I went there and I saw a completely different world, right? Obviously, the adoption of technology at that time. You know, the industry of computer services were also growing. You know, there's a lot of outsourcing work happening. And as soon as I finished that program, I was very excited about that space. I came back to Sri Lanka and started to work on this model, right? And I started this company called Z Labs at that time, and we were trying to sort of put this together. A lot of learnings, but I think I'm grateful that I went through that learning very early in my life, right? My parents were not very happy, right? They wanted me to, you know, take the traditional route of doing a degree and stuff like that. But I stuck my guns and said, let me do this, right? And I'm very glad I did that. I learned a lot in that journey, and that's why I'm here.
Amazing. This little app called Pick Me that just takes this amount of space on our phone is really changing even the tourism world for us here in Sri Lanka. We'll speak about it when we do come back. Do stick around. This is Danu on Fire right here on hi.lk. Thank you to our sponsors, Flowers by M. Ceylon, for joining us on Danu on Fire. Now you can curate your wedding or your big moments in life and celebrate it in the most fashionable, stylish way. Now these guys have been in the industry for over 40 years. They have created a big space for them in Sydney, Australia. Now they have brought in all this international expertise and a great team who can put a dream wedding or a dream occasion together here to Sri Lanka. Now you can meet them at hi.lk City Mall. They're available for you to have a discussion, a one-on-one session about how you can curate and plan and make flowers speak volumes about what you have planned to bring out in that amazing event that you want to host. So do visit Flowers by M. Ceylon. They're also available on social handles for more details. This I shall give my guest to take back home to remember us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to our friends at XXL for joining us on Danu on Fire. You like what I'm wearing? Well, they have this and so much more for you to choose from when you do visit them, because it's a true Sri Lankan brand that really embodies all shapes and sizes, giving us all something to wear and be proud about. Visit them today for more details. Thank you XXL for being with us on Danu on Fire.
hi.lk City Mall, my happy place.
I just say it.
Welcome back to the show. We are speaking to Zulfer, and this is about Pick Me. And just before we went to the break, I spoke about how Pick Me is helping tourism in Sri Lanka, and it's a key issue because number one, when people do fly down, they really want a trusted source that will take them around, because we have even seen it on Amazing Race how we fooled a few people out with our took rides. So we need to stop that and find a way that the system is transparent, and tourists now have done their research before they fly down and they know what is the maximum we should pay. Now Pick Me has come up with a solution for this, and this is working mostly right now with the Indian tourists because that's one of our biggest markets.
Correct. So India is the biggest market, and we expect the volumes from India to grow for the tourists in Sri Lanka. So we've done many things to make sure that they can get a ride as soon as they land into to Sri Lanka. So one is we have a setup in the airport. That's a dedicated pickup point that every tourist can get onto a cab and get to their hotel or to their destination. The second is we have an integration with UPI. UPI is the de facto payment in India now. So a lot of Indians have UPI payments. So we have now integrated with UPI to make payments, and we have a special partnership with PhonePe that we are able to provide discounts and other offerings. So an Indian user of PhonePe can come to Sri Lanka, launch their app, of course download Pick Me and make payments on the platform as well. So for an Indian traveling to Sri Lanka, they feel the same. They don't have to worry about change in money to Sri Lankan rupees. They can still use their PhonePe app to transact in Sri Lanka when it comes to transport.
Now, little by little, Pick grows into different areas. And why did you all introduce the bikes? Because it was not there, and we had bikes coming in. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I think I think bikes just makes a lot of sense in a market like us, right? One, it's cheap, and you can get to your destination much faster, right? And I think there wasn't a platform to discover it, right? I mean, there wasn't a signage or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up thinking a three-wheeler is a taxi, though it's not. I mean, a lot of people use it for domestic purpose, but we know that you can flag a three-wheeler down, but you never knew that you can flag a bike down, right?
And don't know where you'll end up with the bike.
Correct. So what we do is we make sure that we made sure that we brought the bike because it made a lot of sense to a lot of the Sri Lankans to use a bike to get to their destination, right? It's cheaper, it's faster, and it gets the job done. And that's why we launched a bike. And now bikes have become essentially one of the most popular travel mode of Sri Lankans.
And how many bikes are there?
So in Sri Lanka, the most number of vehicles are the bikes. I think there's something over 1 million bikes in the country, right? So it made sense for us to sort of introduce that. And I think we don't have a lot of full-time drivers that does taxis, but essentially they do it as a part-time thing.
Right.
So while they go to work, when they have some free time, make a buck out of the whole,
journey back and forth. Yeah.
Exactly. And then do this in a more part-time basis. So we see a lot of that, right? And I think it's a great way to make an extra buck.
Something that I really enjoy about Pick Me is the whole seasonal changes that happen to the little man. He has a Santa hat on. He will have a whole cricket fever.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I look at him on and off.
Maybe we should have your face there once.
Now, looking at the youth of today, we have had such I hate that term, brain drain. A lot of people just packed up and left thinking that, there's no hope for Sri Lanka. What is your mindset on that topic? And what do you think our youth should do? Because there was a huge growth for entrepreneurship in 2018. I think that was the year we saw a lot of people coming out and creating brands, leaving their full-time 9 to 5 to do this.
Correct.
Now we are seeing, because they don't want to take that risk at this where everything is so shaky. What would you tell them?
I think opportunities are created, with when there's problems, right? And I think this is the right time to get back at it, right? So as a country is also now, building itself up. I think we need a lot of entrepreneurs to drive that growth in the country. So I think I like to look at a glass half empty, right, and see how we can take our opportunities out of this. So yeah, I think I might be biased here, but I think there is still a lot of opportunity in Sri Lanka, and I think we need more entrepreneurs to drive those opportunities.
Yeah, and I think that's the only way forward.
Correct.
So yeah, you heard it from somebody who is young and energetic, not from somebody who is from a different generation. We have time for a break. We'll come back with more. Do stick around this time.
I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes.
Thank you to our sponsors, Flowers by M. Ceylon, for joining us on Danu on Fire. Now you can curate your wedding or your big moments in life and celebrate it in the most fashionable, stylish way. Now these guys have been in the industry for over 40 years. They have created a big space for them in Sydney, Australia. Now they have brought in all this international expertise and a great team who can put a dream wedding or a dream occasion together here to Sri Lanka. Now you can meet them at Havelock City Mall. They're available for you to have a discussion, a one-on-one session about how you can curate and plan and make flowers speak volumes about what you have planned to bring out in that amazing event that you want to host. So do visit Flowers by M. Ceylon. They're also available on social handles for more details. This I shall give my guest to take back home to remember us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to our friends at XXL for joining us on Danu on Fire. You like what I'm wearing? Well, they have this and so much more for you to choose from when you do visit them, because it's a true Sri Lankan brand that really embodies all shapes and sizes, giving us all something to wear and be proud about. Visit them today for more details. Thank you XXL for being with us on Danu on Fire.
Havelock City Mall, my happy place.
I just say it.
Welcome back to the show, our final segment with this wonderful man, Zulfer. Now I want to speak about this entrepreneurship being one of the key topics. Tell me about, is there any type of affiliations that we can do globally for our ideas to go international? And some of the companies that have really thrived and created a platform for themselves to see a bit of a global chance.
Yeah, I think any budding entrepreneur, I would recommend them to travel, right? I think maybe start from India and go around the world. I think by traveling, you sort of understand what's happening, right? And that's key to build in an entrepreneurship mindset, right? And my advice is start early, right? I think the times the times have changed. You know, you don't want to be 40, 50 years to start a business. You might as well start very early in life, so that you learn the rails very early.
Risk factors is something that everyone really worries about. You know, you need to have financial stability, and also do you have the right type of resource to take that chance?
Yeah. So when I started my entrepreneurship journey, there wasn't anything called startups at that time. It wasn't
a key word.
A key word, right? Entrepreneurship was not even spoken about. We never cherished entrepreneurship at that time, right? Now it's become very popular. So entrepreneurship was not a well-known word at that time when I started. Now we have a lot of resources, right? Today we have investors. You know, there are angel investors who are willing to invest on your idea. There are people who understands the digital businesses, right? So I think the industry has evolved, entrepreneurship has evolved, and I think starting early is very important, right? You talked about risk. I think the best time to start is when you're young, right? You don't have a family, you don't have children to feed, right? So you do that early and you get it through, and if you can create a good income, you can live through that life. You know?
In a very happy way.
Yeah.
You know, I have to touch this because during the break we were talking about something. 2019 really made us think about a lot of situations in our country, with the fact of how what can I say, temperament we are in terms of decision making, in terms of having an opinion, and in terms of having public views taking an option and an opinion within our mindset. 2019, the bomb attack really did create a lot of stir. How was it for you, and how was it for PickMe, and what was the feedback? Because things really changed immediately with COVID, but that year was such a great time in our lives.
Yeah, I think for me personally and for the company, it was a very dark moment, right? I think we were targeted as a company, so it's very unfortunate, right? But I think we've raised to the occasion, right? We've been, we've managed to pull ourselves through and come to where we are today, right? I think we should never, as citizens of this country, we should never have that kind of time, right? And I think everyone, we should all, as citizens of this country, not allow this country to get to that situation.
A moment like that can really make us think, like, why are we being fooled by people who have agendas when we can find solidarity within us?
Correct.
But it's amazing that you held strong during that time.
Yes, correct. I mean, we are very much a software-driven company, right? We are a software company. We have a lot of engineers that work with us. Our mindset is very simple. We want to do the best for our country, right? And that's what we value a lot. And we are very fortunate, even though the country went through a lot of ups and downs, we as a company and the people in the company stood strong, and we were able to ride all those waves very, very well.
And maintain the stability.
Correct.
Final question I have to ask you. How are you as a boss?
I don't like to be considered as a boss. I like to work very closely with people. We have a very open environment in our office, right? So I sit amongst everyone else. I love to see the people of our country do well, right? And we make sure that even an intern that comes into our business or to our office environment learns from me, from the leadership team, so that they can aspire to be great people of this country, right? So I think that's the thesis. That's essentially what we want to create, and I think I hope I'm a good boss.
Yeah. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm sure you are. Thank you so much for being on the show and for having this little chat with me.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely amazing and a true inspiring brand, of course. To create a brand, to make it a brand, and at the same time for it to feed and be a part of many people's form of food, livelihood and lifestyle, which is amazing. Thank you so very much for being on the show. Until we see you again, you keep smiling. It's a wrap. Thank you to Silman Grand Colombo for hosting us.